The Galaxy Man Show interview show. So for my very next guest of this week is this incredible Doctor Who cosplayer who cosplays the incredible 10th Doctor. So I'm about to add Doctor Spicer onto the live now and have a chat with Doctor Spicer. So everyone make Doctor Spicer very welcomed onto the Galaxy Man Show. So yeah, here we go, adding him in right now. There we go. Hello.
Hi.
Yes. How's it going?
It's all right. It's all right.
Awesome.
Just refueling the TARDIS, as you know.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I just want to say first up, thank you so much for taking the time to join my show. It's such an incredible pleasure having you on the show for today. So to people that don't know who you are, if you can give like a bit of backstory about yourself, and then we'll dive right into the questions.
All right. So my name is Drew Spicer. I am 19 years old, and I've been a fan I've been a fan since Idiot's Lantern came out, and I forgot that was like 2006. So I don't know how old I was back then, but yeah, ever since Doctor Who and my time on Instagram, my collections got bigger, and I started doing cosplaying.
So we'll dive right into the questions now. So for my very first question, as people can tell, you dress up as the incredible 10th Doctor very well, I have to say. What's it like for you to dress up as the 10th Doctor? Like, what does it mean to you to dress up as the 10th?
For me to dress up as like a character that I know and love, it's like one of those passions, you know. It dressing up as a character that you know you like to be as. It's like magic, you know. You get to feel what the character feels, you know. And for me, it's like that little magic as you would want to go every day of your life. And to me, it's something I like doing, you know. And I'm never going to grow out of it. So,
So
yeah.
that's our very next question for you. So with like Doctor Who being such a great success, how long have you been like watching Doctor Who for? Like what got you into saying, "Hey, I want to start cosplaying"?
Oh well, Doctor when I first saw Doctor Who, sorry, was 2006 when the episode Idiot's Lantern appeared, and I was partway through watching that, and I got hooked into it. And ever since that, I always wanted to have my own Sonic, the own TARDIS, my own costume. So a few years on, I started to do like YouTube, and I started out as a YouTube career. It's something it didn't go as planned at first. It's more of like something I wanted to do as like a hobby. Then it turned into more of Doctor Who content, such as reviews and news and stuff. And then later on, a few years later, when I got Instagram, this was when I was on a phone call with my mate Josh. We was discussing about cosplay because he has a Doctor Who cosplay himself, and he's the reason why I'm doing it now. He got me into doing it, and I didn't know much back then. A few years ago, when it first came out, I was like, "That's interesting." I didn't know you can actually buy the costumes and dress up as your favorite character. So I thought, screw it. I've already built a TARDIS at that point because I got bored. It was during the pandemic era, and like just a touch of the pandemic era. I have my original TARDIS, which was based off the 10th Doctor's, but it's way too small. Made a cardboard, and it just kept falling to pieces. So I thought, screw it, I'll make another one. You know, the one that I have now. But the one that I have now has been updated ever since, so it's a little bit more like the TARDIS instead of like the garage, basically.
That's good.
So through that, I started doing 11th Doctor cosplays on my own take on that. I'm still trying to do that as well, but I just need a sweet jacket and then I'm all sorted. But when I was doing that, I was like, I'd like to do the 10th Doctor cosplay, so I did my own version of it, and it's what's now called the Professor, for an audio series thing that my friend's doing. So when I moved into this one, it was a bugger to move. It was a bugger to move the console into this room, and I was like, you know what I want? I need to get the 10th Doctor suit. So I started off getting the blue suit because my mate had the brown suit. It's like, oh, I'm going to save up for this. And I kept doing all the little jobs just to get the money for it. And I was like so excited. Finally got the suit. I was like, yes. And then I started wearing it. And yeah, and then my 10th Doctor cosplay started off there. And then a few months later, I got the other brown suit. It's a little bit too big. So I got the Amazon variant where it's a little bit more tailored made to your fit. But it's a little bit more expensive. And then, of course, I had to get the shoes. The ties, this was given to me from the Citadel of Nerds, aka James from Instagram. And I've got another tie, a stripy one that was from Pretty Boy Cosplayers, aka Ryan, as a gift. And I had the blue shirt, the Converse. I need the black Converse for the tuxedo variant I wanted to do. So,
So onto my very next question, onto your own TARDIS design. With like creating your own console and TARDIS, like how long did it take you to come up with the idea of wanting to create your own console?
well, I'm not very much of a patient man when it comes to making things. I like to get it all done and dusted. The police box, as you can probably tell, is not quite finished. I've still got the signs to make. We'll get onto that in a minute. The console itself started off very basic. 6 sides, didgeridoo as a timer with RGB lights around it. Didn't have a function back then. And then I got bored and started functioning around with the remote. And after prattling about with some wiring, I managed to make it so the timer works instead of just having to press buttons to make it do that. So it works with the levers, not just a couple of pressing the button on the same time. So it's on the levers. So that was a bugger, but it's easy to change the batteries on that because it's easy accessible. It was just a bugger to move from the original spot. And then when I finished it off, I've added things to it like the roundels had an update, paper plates with CDs in them. And then I got the wheel spacers to give it more of my own variant of the TARDIS that I liked. I based it off a TARDIS during the end of building it, which was more of a Tenet. It's got Tenet elements to like that. Binoculars, the lighting, and what was it? Switches, keyboard. Well, the keyboard wasn't really on the 10th Doctor's TARDIS. We've got dials, gauges, and of course the wheel spacers that was based off the 10. And then once that was done, I wanted to build the police box. And me being me, I put up a poll on Instagram, what should I make, the TARDIS doors or the actual box? Loads of people said TARDIS doors, and I went, nah, screw it, I'll just do the full box. So I was putting things together, getting the sides on, doing that. I hadn't even used a tape measure to build that. I just went through my head and just did it that way. So,
I love that. So on to our very next question. So who would be your like most favorite Doctor from like old classic or new Who that you like really enjoy and why?
Feels a bit too obvious. I like David Tennant's Doctor. That was the Doctor I first saw. So he's my Doctor and always will be. Now I know that he's coming back as, in my opinion, I think he is his 14th Doctor as well, but I think I'd rather take him as the 10th Doctor because the original's always better, as they say. And for me, I just like his characteristics and how he acted as a Doctor. You know, it's when you see things like David Tennant doing his really good bad take on his own Scottish, it's like funny because he's acting to be Scottish, but he's already Scottish, so that's like really comedic. I like David Tennant's Doctor. As for a classic Doctor, it's more of a mix at the minute, but at the minute mine's like Tom/John Pertwee. So yeah, they're my two classics. My 10th.
Okay, for my very next question. So who would be your all-time favorite companion of the Doctors and why?
Oh, he's gone and done this. Oh, he's gone and done this.
Yep.
I've got two, but I'm just going to say one. It's really hard, to be honest. I like to say Amy. Amy Pond's my favorite. even though she's like the 11th Doctor, because the 11th Doctor is my second favourite in the modern Who. But Amy Pond's my favourite out of the bunch.
Here's a question to spin it on you. So if the 10th Doctor could have had Amy as the companion, like what kind of like story would have wanted with the 10th Doctor and Amy? And yeah, what kind of story would you want with them?
I don't know, because Amy's quite flirty, isn't she? So, well, especially in the early series of Matt's era. It would have been funny as Amy like going through space with the Doctor doing like roundups of like, I don't know, like taking a quick stop to the rift point and you'd meet up with Jack and that. But something gets in the way, like the trickster could come back or something like that. I don't know. It's just, yeah.
Awesome. So on to our next question. So what would be your like most favorite Doctor Who villain or creature, and why?
Dalek Sec.
Yes. Yes. I love that.
I love Dalek Sec.
Yes. We need more Dalek Sec. Like, Dalek Sec was such a great Dalek from David Tennant's era. And whoever hasn't seen Dalek Sec, definitely go check out Dalek Sec from David Tennant's era of the 10th Doctor's era, because Dalek Sec was such a great villain. And yeah, ultimate Dalek right there. Dalek Sec.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on to my very next question. So what would be your like most favorite Doctor Who episode, and why?
This is really not a good question right now. I've got about three slash four favourites. So I'm just gonna name them. So we've got Idiot's Lantern, because that was the first episode I saw. Smith and Jones, 50th anniversary, Jenny through to the centre of the TARDIS. I think there's one more. Hold on. The Doctor's wife, I think it is. Yeah, the Doctor's wife.
Okay, nice. I love them. So on to my very next question. So what do you think of David Tennant returning? Because you just said you think that David Tennant could be the 14th Doctor. So onto that theory, why do you think David Tennant could be the 14th Doctor? What makes you think, hey, David Tennant's the 14th Doctor?
Like, we've heard the news that Gat was going to be in the Doctor Who industry, but it didn't specify as what exactly. I covered this in my YouTube video where I said, I've even put a thing on YouTube saying, with a picture of me proving my point, that Gatware, has been, raised up to being the Doctor Who industry, but it didn't specify as the next Doctor or as the 14th Doctor or the 15th. He said, something about Gatware being somewhat for the Doctor Who as a leading role in Doctor Who. Leading role could be anything like the Master or something like that. But from that point, we haven't had any news about the new episode filmings or anything with Gatware, because obviously that would have been, the first thing we've all seen. So, and yet the 60th anniversary is like next year, and they're filming that first before Gatware, and it's a bit weird. And my point exactly is this, that the 10th Doctor's using the 13th Doctor's TARDIS exterior. It seems that we've got a different interior though, because there is a little snapshot of the roundel, but you can't make out what type of roundel it is. So it's not going to be the original 10th Doctor's TARDIS. So it might be a mashup between it or something, I don't know. Because we've got the 13th Doctor exterior TARDIS, David Tennant is a new variation of his 10th Doctor's take on clothes. A new sonic screwdriver is being spotted. Donna is back, and her husband is back. And then we've got a variation of Rose, which is female Yasmin, which is an take on Yasmin Khan, but Yasmin's playing Rose, which could be like a residual leak of Donna's timeline splitting out again after the Doctor mind wiped her from that perspective. And if the 10th Doctor was coming back in the 60th anniversary, this is what I would have said. Original screwdriver, original outfit, maybe the blue suit for a change, I don't know. And definitely the original TARDIS, but we haven't seen those, so I'm guessing he is the 14th Doctor for like a few series, so yeah.
Awesome. So on to our next question. So what are your hopes for the 60th anniversary? Like what do you want to see out of the 60th anniversary? Like any returning Doctors that you would like to see return, or any storyline that you would like to see happen maybe?
Well, with Day of the Doctor, it's like we saw like the Zygon invasion pretty much. With this one, I want to see them. You know, I want to see him battle the Cybermen, like attack on the Cybermen. Um, I would like to see Christopher Eccleston back in the 60th. Matt, Peter, maybe some of the original Doctors as well, such as the classic Doctors. Who else? And maybe like hints of like companions of being spotted at least, like because we've seen Ace and that returning for an episode, so it would be nice to have like Martha or something. So yeah.
So on to the very next question. So what does Doctor Who mean to you, like as a show? Like what, like anything like that said, hey, Doctor Who, like Doctor Who is, yes, such a good success of the show, but like what makes Doctor Who that show for people to have that haven't seen it, that should watch it, and that makes Doctor Who the thing to watch?
Well, Doctor Who is just like fascinating. It's weird, but it's really fascinating. You like it's strangely weird, but you get hooked into it and you're like, what happens next? It's like leading episodes as well. So I like the fact that we've got things such as an infinite room in the TARDIS. That's pretty cool. Sonic screwdriver that can do anything apart from wood, or deadlock seal, which is a bit embarrassing. Or turkey. And also it's like when you watch it, it's like magic in front of your eyes. You know, you're seeing like what the Doctor's seeing. You get to see your villains. At first, it's like scary, but you get used to it over time. You get able to rewatch those on like streaming platforms as well. And it's like even as a cosplayer, you get to even quote out like Alonzi or all that such, like the quotes like it's bigger on the inside, that type of situation. So yeah.
Awesome. So on to the very last question. So like what's next for you, like for the rest of 2022? Like what you like to announce on the show or anything?
2022. There's a lot of things that I like to happen in that. Um, I like to see David as 14th with the original stuff. Unfortunately, that ain't gonna happen. I'd like to carry on with what I'm doing. I like to get a bigger audience. YouTube is like 484 currently. Then when I started TikTok, that's been blowing up since, and it's like 4,000 some followers. And Instagram's like 750 something currently. Um, but TikTok's really easy to build your subscribers or followers on there, you know. And I like to branch out a little bit more, so I've got popularity a bit more on here and YouTube, not just TikTok. But I have been spotted some cases, and I've inspired a few people to make their own TARDISes and do their own stuff with like costuming and cosplaying and making their own episodes. And it's nice to see that happen, you know, inspiring people to do their own thing. So.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to join my show. It has been such an incredible pleasure talking all things Doctor Who with you. Everyone, definitely go give DoctorSpicer Drew one amazing and incredible support and follow. He does such an incredible job. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, keep up the amazing work. Do you have like any last final thoughts that the Doctor would say?
Alonso.
Yeah.